Good evening, I'm Alma Angeles, and you're watching Eagle News International. On tonight's headlines. An unrelenting heat wave is currently scorching southwestern parts of the U.S., with Arizona projected to experience a record stretch of extreme hot weather. The heat dome is expected to peak this weekend, bringing temperatures of up to 130 degrees Fahrenheit or 54 degrees Celsius in some areas. And today, the vibrant lights of Hollywood have dimmed as actors trade the glitz and glamour for picket lines. The entire industry has ground to a halt as actors and writers join together in a strike, a historic event not seen in over 60 years. In a meeting held in Jakarta, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken emphasized the principle of Southeast Asian countries having the autonomy to make their own choices. His remarks come amidst rising concerns and controversies surrounding China's territorial claims over the vast areas of the South China Sea. In a momentous celebration, NASA marks the first full year of the James Webb Space Telescope's remarkable journey with a breathtaking new image showcasing the birth of stars. An unrelenting heat wave is currently scorching southwestern parts of the U.S., with Arizona projected to experience a record stretch of extreme hot weather. The heat dome is expected to peak this weekend, bringing temperatures of up to 130 degrees Fahrenheit or 54 degrees Celsius in some areas. According to the National Weather Service, more than 115 million people are under some form of heat warnings. Phoenix, Arizona's capital, has already endured 14 consecutive days with temperatures exceeding 43 degrees Celsius or 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's expected to surpass its previous 18-day record of such extreme heat next Tuesday. Numerous other cities in the region are also anticipated to reach temperatures above 38 degrees Celsius or 100 degrees Fahrenheit. In a warning issued on Thursday, the NWS highlighted that the heat wave will extend to states like Nevada, Oklahoma, Texas, and California. The forecast includes the expectation of oppressive heat reaching up to 46 degrees Celsius or 115 degrees Fahrenheit in certain areas of the southern plains. Furthermore, forecasters have noted that overnight temperatures are expected to remain abnormally warm, hovering around 32 degrees Celsius or 90 degrees Fahrenheit in some regions, providing little relief from the sweltering heat during the nighttime. Meanwhile, in Las Vegas, Nevada, Sunday is projected to bring a scorching high of 47 degrees Celsius or 117 degrees Fahrenheit, potentially breaking the city's all-time record for the hottest temperature on record, previously set in July 1942 and matched in July 2021. El Paso, Texas has also been grappling with triple-digit temperatures for 27 consecutive days, surpassing the city's previous record of 23 consecutive days of extreme heat set in 1994. Unfortunately, the extreme heat is expected to persist in the area. Now, this heat wave in the U.S. coincides with similarly high temperatures in Europe, where regions in Spain, France, Greece, Croatia, and Turkey are anticipated to exceed 40 degrees Celsius or 104 degrees Fahrenheit. In response to an ongoing heat wave, the Athens Acropolis, Greece's renowned tourist attraction, temporarily closed during the hottest hours on Friday. The country is currently grappling with scorching temperatures, prompting the culture minister to make this announcement. Lina Mendoni, the culture minister, revealed that access to the UNESCO-listed archaeological site dating back to antiquity was suspended from midday until 5 p.m. local time. The closure aims to safeguard the well-being of both workers and visitors, as soaring temperatures make it especially challenging to endure the heat at the summit of the Acropolis.
Well, I don't know what to say because I haven't read that info on their official website. Maybe it's said it somewhere, but it's not clearly noticed. So I'm not feeling really comfortable about it. But what can we do? The idea is to go somewhere and then come back in 5 because it would be such a pity not to see it.
I mean, we weren't expecting it. We just kind of came and thought it would be open. We just thought we'd bring some water and be prepared and kind of caught us off guard, but it makes sense. I mean, it's really, really hot today. It's 40 odd degrees. Just saying before that we've been drinking lots but haven't been peeing much, all that sort of thing. It's just very, very hot.
Authorities have taken various measures to mitigate the impact. Yesterday, the Red Cross was deployed to the Acropolis, offering water bottles and assistance to visitors suffering from the heat. Additionally, shelters were set up near the entrance earlier this week to provide protection to the thousands of sightseers who come to admire the Pantheon from the Acropolis. Now, authorities have also cautioned about an elevated risk of wildfires, especially in regions where strong winds are anticipated. And as summer unfolds in the Northern Hemisphere, parts of Europe, China, and the U.S. find themselves in the grip of a brutal heat wave. These scorching temperatures serve as a stark reminder of the dangers associated with a warming climate. Now, extreme heat advisories have been issued for over 100 million Americans, with the National Weather Service warning of particular hazardous conditions in states such as Arizona, California, Nevada, and Texas. Across Europe, countries like France, Germany, Italy, Spain, and Poland are also facing sweltering temperatures, adding to the heat wave's global impact. In Greece, as mentioned earlier, the country's iconic tourist attraction, the Acropolis, will close during the hottest hours on Friday, as temperatures in Athens soared to 40 degrees Celsius or 104 degrees Fahrenheit. The European Space Agency has cautioned that temperatures on the islands of Sicily and Sardinia may even reach a scorching 48 degrees Celsius or 118.4 degrees Fahrenheit, potentially setting new records for the hottest temperatures ever recorded in Europe. Meanwhile, parts of China, including the capital Beijing, are grappling with soaring temperatures, and a major Chinese power company recently reported a record high in a single day power generation. In eastern Japan, temperatures are set to rise to 38 to 39 degrees Celsius. That is about 100.4 to 102.2 degrees Fahrenheit on Sunday and Monday, with Japan's meteorological agency issuing warnings of potential record-breaking temperatures. Now, Asia is also currently facing a devastating monsoon season, with more than 100 people now losing their lives in the region due to the extreme weather conditions. Over the past 2 weeks, torrential rains have triggered floods and landslides in countries such as India, China, and Japan. These catastrophic events have forced hundreds of thousands of people to evacuate their homes, seeking safety from the rising waters. On Friday, South Korea remained on high alert as a powerful storm battered the capital city of Seoul. Meanwhile, in the Philippines, officials issued warnings about an approaching tropical cyclone, urging residents to take necessary precautions. And earlier this week, Japan witnessed record-breaking floods on the island of Kyushu, claiming the lives of at least 8 individuals, including a local politician, with others still missing. Japan's meteorological agency described the rainfall as unprecedented, with cities across the country experiencing record amounts of rain. Scientists stress that climate change has amplified the risk of floods worldwide, and the extreme weather events have become more frequent and severe, posing significant challenges for countries struggling to mitigate these dangers. And as the southern U.S. grapples with an intense heat wave, it's also important to recognize, as well as Europe, it's also important to recognize that the scorching temperatures are part of a larger global trend. Last week, the global average temperature soared to a record high of 63 degrees Fahrenheit or 17.23 degrees Celsius.
The first week of July, starting from 4th to 7th, could be considered as the warmest period or the warmest week ever recorded. Daily June temperature in the North Atlantic, as you can see, is dramatically high compared to the past behavior of that area. So we record an unprecedented peak of temperature in that part of the world.
In addition to climate change, the ongoing heat wave can be further intensified by the periodic climate pattern known as El Niño. This natural occurrence, characterized by warming waters in the central and eastern tropical Pacific Ocean, takes place every 3 to 7 years. El Niño amplifies global temperatures, resulting in even hotter conditions. And it's crucial to acknowledge that our planet has already experienced a temperature increase of approximately 1.1 degrees Celsius since the onset of the industrial era.
When you have a tropical cyclone, everything is affected on the shores, including fisheries, but also including inland, with heavy precipitation that could lead to casualties, displacement of population, and so on. So if we say that is a dramatic change, that means also dramatic likelihood of extreme weather and climate event.
During an El Niño year, you get higher temperatures in the atmosphere as well, because heat is moving from the oceans to the atmosphere. But as you correctly pointed out, we're actually only just at the beginning of that process. So El Niño hasn't had as much of an effect as it's going to later in the year. So we're seeing these high temperatures in the North Atlantic, etc., despite the fact that El Niño hasn't really got going yet. We can expect much higher temperatures from the El Niño in the latter half of the year, in sort of October and November time.
Also today, the vibrant lights of Hollywood have dimmed as actors trade the glitz and glamour for picket lines. The entire industry has ground to a halt as actors and writers join together in a strike, a historic event not seen in over 60 years. Marching outside NBC studios, a 36-year-old actress expresses sadness over the situation, highlighting the struggle to earn a living wage.
We're just trying to make a minimum wage, a living wage in New York City, in the place that we work. We want to be able to live in the place that we work.
Production has been halted in several film projects, including highly anticipated sequels like Deadpool, Venom, and Gladiator. The strike demands include fair residual for streaming, as actors accuse the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers of being greedy.
So the jig is up, AMPTP. We stand tall. You have to wake up and smell the coffin. And we demand respect and to be honored for our contribution. You share the wealth because you cannot exist without us.
But also, we've watched the wages shrink lower and lower. And they cut their costs more and more in what they pay us, relying on it. Streaming has become bigger than anyone imagined. There was a time when television was never thought to be significant, and then was cable. Now we have streaming, and that's grown to an exponential way. And now all of the studios are doing streaming, but the streaming concept limits what we're paid, because AI is threatened to remove real performers from the creative space. Producers want to pay less money for the work that we do and to ultimately phase us out. So all those things, including the fact that the contract that we're working under was one that was born in 1960. So here it is, 2023. It's time to shift the way those things are structured to be more fair to the modern reality that we live in.
Approximately 160,000 performers joining forces with the 11,500 members of the Writers Guild of America, or WGA, who walked out on May 2nd, have ceased their work at midnight in support of the strike. The unity between actors and writers on the picket lines has brought energy and incredible solidarity, as demonstrated by the hundreds of strikers marching with placards at the Netflix building in Los Angeles. The strike's impact extends beyond just actors and writers. Those who work behind the scenes, including catering, costume and makeup personnel, find themselves out of work as well. The repercussions are affecting numerous individuals involved in the industry. Today, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken emphasized the significance of Washington's relations with Southeast Asian countries during a crucial high-level meeting in Jakarta. Now, Mr. Blinken convened with counterparts from the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, who gathered in Indonesia for the biannual meeting. The event also saw the participation of top diplomats from China, Russia, India, and Australia. Addressing the attendees, Mr. Blinken underscored the importance of countries being able to determine their own paths, highlighting the need to address problems openly rather than resorting to coercion.
Today, I joined ministers from ASEAN and the region at the East Asia Summit Ministerial, the U.S.-ASEAN Ministerial Meeting, and the ASEAN Regional Forum, where we discussed deepening cooperation to realize our shared vision of free, open, prosperous, secure, interconnected, and resilient Indo-Pacific. At the heart of that approach is our comprehensive strategic partnership with ASEAN, ASEAN centrality, and the ASEAN outlook on the Indo-Pacific. Like many countries in the region, we're concerned by the PRC's increasing assertiveness in the South and East China Seas and in the Taiwan Strait. We remain committed to upholding freedom of navigation and overflight in the South China Sea, a critical throughway for global commerce and connectivity, and we support ASEAN's negotiation of a code of conduct consistent with international law.
Though not explicitly stated, his remarks alluded to the concerns surrounding Beijing's actions. It's noteworthy that just a day before, Mr. Blinken held talks with China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi. The U.S. diplomat emphasized the significance of increased cooperation, highlighting the need to jointly tackle complex challenges.
Yesterday, following up on my trip to China a few weeks ago, Director Wang and I had a candid and constructive conversation on a range of bilateral, regional, and global issues. These included Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine and cross-strait relations. Despite very clear areas of disagreement, the United States is also prepared to work with Beijing on challenges that affect people in the United States, the PRC, and around the world.
China's increased incursions into the self-ruled Taiwan region, which it claims as part of its own territory, and reported harassment of Philippine ships in the South China Sea were also mentioned by the U.S.
We need to send a clear message that ASEAN will never be a proxy in great powers rivalry.
U.S. is one of the most important partners for ASEAN, and this year, ASEAN starts to mainstream the implementation of ASEAN Outlook on the Indo-Pacific with all our partners, including the U.S. Strategic approaches of inclusive cooperation, habit of dialogue must always be upheld by ASEAN, and we do hope that the partners will also do the same. We believe that the U.S. will continue to support ASEAN centrality and reinforce ASEAN position as epicentrum of growth. Secretary Blinken, collaboration is our only compass toward an inclusive regional architecture, and we welcome all nations to join us in forging the interaction within the Indo-Pacific. Therefore, ASEAN Outlook on the Indo-Pacific was created as our united resolve for this region. Our goals with this outlook are to foster concrete cooperation that directly benefit our people in 4 priority areas: maritime, connectivity, SDGs, and economy.
Now, during a meeting with Southeast Asian ministers, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken also emphasized the joint responsibility of the U.S. and regional states to exert pressure on Myanmar's ruling junta. Secretary Blinken called for the military regime to lay down its arms and restore democratic governance in the country.
ASEAN foreign ministers convened in Indonesia on Tuesday to address the pressing issue of the crisis in Myanmar. However, the regional bloc remains divided on the approach to take regarding the ruling junta in the coup-ravaged country. According to an anonymous diplomat, ASEAN members were intensifying their efforts in the lead-up to the meeting, which served as a prelude to a leaders' summit in September. The goal was to rally the group around the issue of Myanmar. However, the official expressed skepticism about achieving unity due to differing perspectives among a few members regarding the approach to the problem. Despite Myanmar's membership in ASEAN, the junta's failure to implement a 5-point plan agreed upon 2 years ago has led to their exclusion from high-level meetings. Adding to the division within ASEAN, Thailand recently hosted the foreign minister of the junta for controversial informal talks.
These 3 meetings only invite all other ASEAN ministers who are interested to talk to the Myanmar, to find out what's happening. We facilitate that kind of meeting. So the 3rd meeting was in Pattaya, allowing countries to find out more from Myanmar. And when they met, they found this very useful. When people who are ready to come, they came. Who were not ready to come would opt out. But it's not the ASEAN meetings, because this is our own initiative. Why? Because we have a long border with Myanmar, 2,400. Like Indonesia, you are far away from Myanmar. You don't know what's happening on a daily basis. But we are affected. India affected. Countries bordering Myanmar are all affected. The transnational crimes are increasing. It is related to Phnom Penh meeting, the summit. The summit in Phnom Penh issued a document, 15 points. And number 14 is on the other approaches to settle the Myanmar issue. Number 14, you look at number 14, it says that other approaches should be explored. We are doing that, and we invite all ministers, including Mr. Retno, to come to Bangkok on the 3 occasions.
Indonesia's Foreign Minister Retno Marsudi emphasized the importance of peace, stability, and prosperity in the region during her address at the gathering. Minister Marsudi expressed openness to cooperation while avoiding alienation.
Bahasan dalam retreat dilakukan dengan sangat terbuka dan sebagian besar diskusi terkait dengan implementasi 5 point of consensus. Jadi walaupun ada 2 agenda, tetapi sebagian besar diskusi dilakukan dalam rangka membahas implementasi 5 point of consensus.
In Myanmar, we must press the military regime to stop the violence, to implement ASEAN's 5-point consensus, to support a return to democratic governance.
In addition to the Myanmar crisis, the maintenance of peace and stability in the region was identified as a top priority. Minister Marsudi stated that preserving Southeast Asia as a region free of nuclear weapons is crucial to transforming it into the epicenter of growth.
Finally, in a momentous celebration, NASA marks the first full year of the James Webb Space Telescope's remarkable journey with a breathtaking new image showcasing the birth of stars. Now, this captivating image captures a cloud complex located approximately 390 light-years away from Earth, revealing about 50 stars, each with a mass comparable to that of our Sun. The James Webb Space Telescope has truly lived up to its promise of unveiling the secrets of the universe like never before. In just 1 year, this remarkable telescope has delivered groundbreaking images and insights that have transformed our understanding of the cosmos. In a statement, NASA expressed its enthusiasm and pride in the telescope's accomplishments, stating that the James Webb Space Telescope has far exceeded expectations, unveiling unprecedented details, revealing secrets of the universe like it's never been seen before. And that's all for now. Stay tuned for more updates on the remarkable achievements of the James Webb Space Telescope and its ongoing mission to uncover the wonders of our universe. And as always, I'll end the day on a thoughtful note. Our ability to look back and smile at our past is proof that God's plan is to keep us moving forward. This has been Eagle News International. Stay alert, stay informed, because we live in extraordinary times. Good night.